Hi. In a previous video about Book 2, Chapter 1 of Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, I mentioned that he turns here towards the question of virtues of character, and he mentions that unlike virtues of the intellect, which can be acquired by learning, virtues of character are acquired and strengthened by habituation. And this means that they are natural to us, but they're natural in the way that capacities are natural to us. They require our deliberate action to perfect, which means that we are morally responsible for our state of character. Virtues of character, it seems, then are more like skills, which we can improve at, rather than like inborn talents or abilities. So if somebody had the ability to see the ultraviolet spectrum, I would say, well, they have that ability, they have that power. It's like a superpower given to them by their nature. I lack it, and no amount of effort is going to cause me to acquire it. But that's not the way that virtues are. They're not like gifts from the gods or curses from the gods, and they're not like just the sort of random product of our nature where each of us simply has whatever we had at birth. They are the kind of thing that we have potentially and that we can develop over time by our own deliberate effort. And this means, among other things, that it's no use our blaming our own lack of moral character on our genes or our birth or our nature. We can't be like Don Juan, the trickster of Seville, who tries to excuse his behavior by saying, well, I'm just a seducer of women by nature. This is the way God made me. I'm just doing what comes naturally, and you can't expect me to do anything else. Well, if Aristotle's correct, we really can expect Don Juan to do something else, to gain more self-control, to become a more honest person by his own deliberate effort. It'll be difficult at first, and he'll make many mistakes at first, but there's no excuse for his not trying by simply claiming that he doesn't have this particular power, this particular capacity. So virtues are not superpowers. They are potentialities in us that we can activate and bring to completion. This means that everybody can improve in the virtues. Given a certain minimal quantity of external goods, everyone can become better at being a good person. It also means that there are no happens to be's in the moral life. It's no good my saying, well, she happens to be a liar, I happen to be a truth teller, or he happens to be courageous, but I happen to be cowardly. There's no happens to be about it. There's a question of how far we've developed the capacity that we have. Our nature might shape how we can develop it or set limits to how high we can develop certain capacities, but it's virtually certain that we're not at that maximum level yet, and there's more that we still have to do. We might appreciate this more fully if we turn to an old Jesuit proverb that you become what you repeatedly do. So it's your actions repeated over time that become the sort of person that you are. It means that the struggle to become a good person over an entire lifetime is a long war that is fought and won through the daily skirmishes of ordinary decision-making. It means that every decision I make, every day, every week I live through, moves me either closer towards or farther away from my goal of living a fully flourishing and good life. This means that we would be mistaken if we model our idea of virtue and moral goodness on the solitary hero, on the heroic figure who performs some great deed, slaying the dragon or overthrowing the empire, that he maybe is destined to perform, like Harry Potter or Luke Skywalker. That's fine for popular entertainment, but the actual moral life of each of us is of quite a different character. We don't have to be the chosen one in order to perform one singular deed which will somehow vanquish evil forever. Instead, we have to engage in the quiet and patient work of gaining ground bit by bit and shaping our characters to be better bit by bit, daily and weekly and monthly, over the course of many decades. That's the kind of struggle that we're in for, and that's the kind of effort that is repaid with a fully flourishing human life, with happiness, according to Aristotle. This also means that there can be no breaks in the moral life. It's no good saying, well, I'm a good person, but I do bad things sometimes. If you do bad things sometimes, this is precisely what makes you not a good person yet. So a guy who's cheating on his girlfriend might say, well, this is a break, right? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I'm still a good, loyal, trustworthy person. I'm just doing this one thing in this one area of my life for this particular period of time, but it doesn't affect who I am. If Aristotle's correct, there's no such thing as a break in the moral life. Everything you do affects who you are. So it's a kind of juvenile fantasy to suppose that there's some place you can go or some time or some area of your life that you can wall off from the formation of your character. That's simply not the way it is with human beings. So an important part of moral maturity, I think, is putting away the YOLO attitude that might characterize your adolescence, the feeling that you can make any decision because nothing matters and you can always recover from it. And I think this is part of what Aristotle means when he talks about nobility of character, or what I've called moral maturity in another video. Nobility of character or maturity means learning to take seriously the daily tasks that we perform and the contribution they make to our character and to our long-term happiness. That's part of what development into moral life means for Aristotle. We'll see when we get to Book 10 of the Nicomachean Ethics that Aristotle takes up this issue of moral seriousness, the seriousness with which we approach the decisions that contribute to our own happiness, when he tries to refute the case that happiness would consist in amusement. So that's something to look forward to later in the Ethics. That's my additional comments on Book 2, Chapter 1 of Nicomachean Ethics. I hope you found them helpful. Thanks for watching today. Goodbye.